Seasons. I'm your host, Ken Johnson. So today we're going to be doing something special. Vermiculture. Yes, vermiculture. That means growing worms. Verm means worm. So anyway, a lot of footage was lost. I don't know why. I thought I was taping. I guess I wasn't. There's a lot of messed up stuff. So I'm going to have to do some creative editing. But I'm going to try to... I had some failed experiments too I was trying to do that I'm really not going to show. It was just a failed experiment trying to reproduce something that my dad and I had. We had crossed... We think we crossed a wiggler with a redworm. Problem is, my dad used a different process than this. And so when I tried it, all the worms escaped and they died. And also I didn't store them properly. Proper storage is key. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to do the egg shells. That's going to be important. You need to know how to do the egg shells. Basically bake them. Wash them off good. All your unused egg shells. I did some chorizo the other day. Grind them up or bake them. Bake them on high heat until they're bone dry and they're well past 180 degrees, so you killed all the bacteria, and then grind them up into a powder. Put a tablespoon over every time you add in some feed. You're good to go. So I'll talk about that, and we'll talk about some other stuff. So let's go ahead with this project. See you in a few. The first part of this is pretty simple. You just got the bottom, which you'll do nothing with, and then the next step is to take the lid and you need to measure. This fits right in, it nests right in here. So I'll actually take a marker, I'll draw around here, right probably a little bit past the edge, so you can see. I'll take my marker and do something like this all the way around so that I got me a good edge going, and I'll show you my outline when I'm done. So I've got my outline done. It's just a dry erase marker, so it'll just rub off. Well, not too good, but it'll rub off or wipe off with a little alcohol. But that gives me a good template on where to cut, so that I've got me, because there's these, this will fit. I need a little area for that lip that you can see right there to catch on, and that should be enough. Once you've done this, I know this is hideous, the cut I did, but once you get it cut out, and I had to cut it out a little bit wider, and there's some mismarks with the tool. Using a rotary tool, it just gums up and turns to nothing. It's hard to cut this plastic. There's no easy way of doing it, but once you get it to where it will do it like it's supposed to nest, and as it nests, you can see you want it to be just about where that belt line is, so that you got a little bit of room right here that's clear. That's important. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take the marker and I'm going to start putting dots, and those will be drill marks, and I'm just setting up my marks and figuring out how many I'm going to have. So I'm going to continue this on and show you what it'll look like from here. Obviously not my finest work, but that is going to be my drill holes. Okay, so right now we got the holes drilled. What's going to happen is the castings will come here, and then all the what they call worm tea will filter out through these holes. There's a little belt here, so I had to have holes in this belted area, and then it'll collect down here the worm tea. And so you got the worm tea layer, castings layer. I'll cover up with paper, and then I'll do another layer. I'm going to cut the lid real quick. I won't show you that. I'll just go ahead and cut that, and then I'll show you what to do with the top layer with the worms. The worm tower is almost completed. Got the lid cut. The other is nesting pretty well, not the best in the world, but they shouldn't get out too bad. Now what I'll do is I'm going to do some holes in here like I did with the castings container, but I'm going to do bigger holes, and that's so that the castings can get out. And this will not have a paper layer either, so this way the castings can just fall out, and if any worms are in there, I'll scoop them out. I apologize everybody, but we got some dogs barking around here. Everybody's coming home. So this right here, I just the drill gave out on me, so I had to burn out some holes, and then I put a hole in the center for a breathing hole. This would be where the worms are, so now I'm going to assemble. Okay, so the first layer is actually going to be, oh, and this is one of my friends, Christopher Linde. Huh, cool. So this is the local paper, what we call the mullet wrapper, and what you do is you just kind of line it like this, so you got something to keep the worms from crawling in and drowning, just to save them a little bit better. And then from here we'll put in the bedding. So right here, nothing could be more simple. I've got some hay, just hay like that. Now I am here, let me get over here so everybody can see better, because the light's starting to set because it's getting late. And I'm just going to put some paper in here. This is just regular old newspaper. Don't worry, it's safe for the worms. They will digest this. You have to worry a little bit about compacting, but they will digest this. You can put cardboard or whatever you want in this. And then the next thing I'm going to do is add a slurry. This was just some weeds that I put in a blender with a little bit of water and some potato, and I'm just making a worm slurry right here, nice and gooey. Ooh, yum. And then I'll mix this up, and then we'll add the worms. Okay, it has been a few days since we put the worms in here, and we're just checking out the worms to see how they're doing. You can see looks like they're all, here's some right here, one's right there. It seems to be doing well, so just kind of lightly. There's another one right there, you can see how it's doing. It's not as lively, but it's still alive. Covered that bad boy back up. So they seem to be doing good in here, so I'm gonna let them be. They're doing good, so we'll see how things go in the next few days. This is very neat. So if you look right here, some people call these things cocoons, some people call them eggs. But whenever you see those little yellowish looking kind of oblong things in your worm bed, that means you got babies coming. So in a few days these will hatch out and we'll have baby worms. And as you see, where are you at? There you are. Right there, we got some worms still growing. They're doing well. And unlike the wigglers, I'm not talking about red wigglers, called red wigglers are just redworms. That's just a name for them. But here in the south, we have a type of earthworm that we call wiggler. And the wigglers dive deep. As you can tell, this redworm is right here on the surface eating. So this is the reason why these beds work so well, because you got just, they can feed right to the top. But I think that's just neat having them eggs in here already. I was not expecting that. But basically all you do is take your eggshells, you put them on a sheet pan, aluminum foil, put them in the oven. I put mine on 500 for about 30 minutes after I rinsed them off a little bit. And once they're cooked through and dried, then I take a mortar and pestle and bust them up. I'll show you how it looks. Of course, the whole reason for me doing this is that I really wanted to just kind of see how things were going with my worms. I kind of put some food in there and bedded them down. Not seeing much activity. We'll see. I'll see if we can find some. And here we go. We have one. He's under this. I have a huge potato layer, and there they are. So they're under the potatoes. I'm going to add some of my eggshell. So that's the reason why I wanted to open this. I'm going to show you this, the eggshell. Just cause it can get a little too acidic at times, it's always good to toss in some eggshell every once in a while with your feedings. I didn't do that last time because I didn't have some, so I'm tossing them in now. You don't want to do too much, but you want to make sure that you don't get any type of acid going. It also gives them some grit for their crawl. They're like a chicken almost, or a mullet. They have a gizzard, and they need that shell to break down food. So you can see some of the worms. I'll try to zoom in right there. There's some worms there. I got some eggs. I stirred this up a little bit, but I'm not getting the dispersion that I want. So I've got a bucket, and I'm going to go ahead and mix this all up in a bucket and try to get the worms more evenly dispersed in the media so they can be eaten on it better. Here's just a handful of some of the worms I'm getting in here. You can see that there's more in here. They're all through here. It seems to be just the European worms have survived. I don't see any other of the red worms, but all I'm doing is taking my hands and here, let me zoom out. So all I'm doing is just taking my hands and kind of better incorporating this material. It's not critical when you're doing worms, you know, with an established bed, but I was creating a bed, and so you don't get, like, this paper is all matted together and hard for them to eat. I'll break this paper up. And there's, just so you can see, a baby worm. Oops, well, I lost it. That was a baby. I've got more cocoons in here. You can see that cocoon in there. That's good. So they're raising. And there's babies in here. But I'm just trying to get something. Here's a baby right there. So I'm just trying to get something where all the organisms are going to be dispersed evenly, because, and here's some more cocoons, one there and one there, so one to your left and one to your right. But what happens when you're doing these worm beds and you're starting them, the companies will not normally send you much media because they're just trying to give you worms. And then it takes a while of using composted materials, other things to build up the organisms, the bacteria in the soil. And that bacteria needs to be all the way through all your media. And so, like, these potatoes have not been broken down any. And you need that. So what I'm doing is I'm taking stuff like this hay here. This hay is not being broken down, but the paper has got a lot of microorganisms on it. And there's another egg on there where they laid an egg on it. And so what I'm doing is I'm just kind of breaking up this paper. And ironically, right in this paper was a little baby. And I'm just getting this all dispersed. So breaking it up a little bit, dispersing it better, and trying to get the good bacteria through all this bed. The more of the good bacteria that I build, the better it is. Because then, oh, and here's one right here, a itty bitty little baby. Just teeny tiny. I mean, you can see, you can't really see my thumbnail, but it's almost half the size of my thumbnail long. So when I mix all this together and it's evenly incorporated, it'll start breaking down the fibers and everything to give the worms more food. And it will also make it to where the worms have a healthier environment to travel through. It's really not healthy for them to travel through that top layer of food that has no bacteria on it. And so there's a big clump of paper I'm trying to break up, in case you're wondering. So that's what I'm doing here. And I'm going I've got a glove on. Here's some more babies. Let's see that. And they get up in all this paper and everything, and that's good. That's good, they're eating. And that's what they need to be doing. I want them to eat. But I also want to make sure that they all have good food. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just stirring this up. I'm going to quit talking. I'm going to get all this evenly incorporated, and then I'll put it back in the container, and it should all look kind of like this, more or less. The worms will go back down. That's their natural habit. But they can come up now and feed. And the idea is that I've got too much food in this worm bed that's not being consumed. I need it broken down and consumed so that they've got plenty to digest on and eat. And then, like that potato right there, it's snapped. That potato, it's months old. This is February. I put this, some of this stuff is from September. No, little baby right there. So I'm gonna shut up now and get all this mixed, and you'll see me in a minute. Okay, so this is some of the stuff that was on the bottom more, and I saved some of this to put on top. The reason why is a lot of this is loaded up in eggs, and as you saw in one of the videos, I've had a problem with tree frogs trying to get to these worms, and my colony is still trying to get established. Now I'm looking probably at 40 or 50 eggs just right here, you know, and I mean there's one there, there's one there, 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 there. You know, they're all over. They're just peppered in this wet media. A lot of this has gotten incorporated in, but this is on top. So the idea behind it, I mean, like, I just picked up one, there's one right there, and then right here is a little baby that, so we got little babies in here, we got all that. I'm trying to get them more incorporated through this material in the hopes that I won't have so many tree frogs eating up the babies. I don't get a lot of worms that escape, I don't think, but I am getting predators trying to get into this. When I change to a new location, that probably will go away, but where I've got them at now, not a good idea. But I'm going to pack this down lightly, so I'm put the lid on and make sure it's all properly done. There's little babies in there, see, all in here is little babies, little worms, little cocoons. I'm going to get all this kind of leveled out, and then I'm going to put the lid on this and let them set. I've messed with them enough that they need to be allowed to homogenize more in this mixture, and hopefully in a few months I'll have an established colony. I want to zoom in and show you what these cocoons look like. There's a baby worm in there that's been moving around. I'm going to try to steady my hand a little bit. But that little worm has been moving around in there. If I can get this on camera, I just wanted to show you what they look like. And it may be trying to hatch. You can see it moving now. That's just too freaking neat. Right here you can see I just put it on the shelf. Just them stacked up on it. Right there's some banana I put in there, some banana peel. And this goes all the way down to back here, and then this stops right about here. So you can see where the bins kind of nest in each other. So I just wanted to thank you for watching my worm video. I'll probably do an update later on. These worms will need about another 120 to 150 days at least. Probably give them 180 days to build up a sufficient colony. But really and truly, if you have any type of livestock, especially something like fowl, any type of chickens, quail, ducks, pheasants, any of that stuff, all the science says feed them high protein. Feed them a diet that's diverse. So if you will make a worm tower and do the big bins, and then when you cut grass, take a bunch of newspaper or cardboard and lay a layer on top, and then put your green matter. Then, and what I like to do is I like to let the green matter rest on a tarp or anything, piece of metal, whatever, in the sun, because it's hot in Florida, so it dehydrates very quickly. And let it kind of go through this, what we call the heat, go through a heat first naturally, so that you don't start composting. That's the main thing. You don't want to be composting. And that's how you can start it, by adding green matter in. So let it kind of heat, Then once it's dried out a little bit, put that on top of some cardboard, cover up your worm tower. A few weeks later, get another layer of cardboard. When you're scooping out all your pens and cleaning out your pens, put your fecal matter and unused feed and all that on top of the cardboard. Every once in a while, mist it. Get a bottle mister and mist that stuff with some water. And remember, especially if you're dealing with fowl, take those egg shells and place it on top of that manure. That's critical. If it's too hot, the worms will flee. And by too hot, I mean too acidic. And we all know that chicken guano and some other bird guano can be too hot, too acidic. So you want to bring that down, and best way doing that, you can use oyster shell. I don't really recommend it. Do the egg shell. I told you how to do that. Put that in there and you're good to go. So, and then every once in a while, dig through, kind of mix it up a little bit, get you some worms out. Get a good handful, 1,000 or so worms, and feed it to your birds. That is perfect feed for your birds. It's a nice little treat. It'll improve the egg quality, improve meat quality. It'll improve overall health of your birds. You can put all your table scraps, that's vegetable matter, with low salt. So like your shavings from carrots, your bad produce, all that can go in that compost bin with worms. Vermiculture is awesome for this. And then also go fishing. My friend Richard, or guy that I watch, he's not a friend, I watch him, Richard Jean, the fishing machine. He always says go fishing because it's good for you. Bill Dance, he has a saying. He says that there's 2 times that's best to go fishing: when it's raining and when it ain't. So go fishing. It's good to be out in nature. You need time yourself. And so these worms can also be for recreation. I highly recommend that. So please, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, hit that bell, and I look forward to hearing back from you. Have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section. I'll answer them. Have a good day. See you next time. Bye.